Of the two legacy smartphone brands that exist today, Motorola has a better pulse of the Indian market compared to Nokia. In fact, the new Moto H20 series is a testament to that fact. The Moto H20 and the Moto H20 Fusion pack features and specs that definitely are competent in their respective price categories. I'm going to be talking about the Moto H20 Fusion today, and this phone has a laundry list of specs that helps it go up against or beat the likes of segment favorites like the OnePlus Nord CE and the Mi 10i. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, Motorola has decided to go the staggered embargo route for the Moto H20 series. So I'm going to be doing only an unboxing and first impression in this video. And you guys know that we generally don't do that, but this is definitely an exception. And a review is definitely coming soon. Well, my name is Ashad. Let's get this video started.
Hey, pretty baby, am I in your way? Cause you walked out so fast yesterday. No, I don't think you're here to stay. No, I don't think you're here to stay.
Now, before we move on, don't forget to hit that red subscribe button and the bell icon right next to it to get notified whenever MySmartPrice English puts out an awesome new tech video. And we're trying to reach 100k soon, so we'll take all the help that we can. Now, let's get down to our unboxing. The first thing I noticed after holding the phone in my hand is that the H20 Fusion is a light phone. At 185 grams, it feels considerably light considering it packs a very big display and it's technically a big phone. And most of this boils down to the fact that the entire phone is made of plastic. Now, I'm all for plastic phones if they can be made this light. However, what I am not a fan of are non-unibody designs. Now, the H20 Fusion has three distinct pieces connected together with evident seams. The plastic rear panel curves into the mid-frame and the display panel is stacked on top of that mid-frame. That said, the soft touch feel of the mid-plastic rear feels pretty nice, and the ergonomics and in-hand feel is great too. I also like the color of the electric graphite variant. Now, most of the time it looks grey with a nice sheen, and in white light you will see a bluish tint as well. So it's sort of like this color shifting, color. Also on the rear is a two-step camera module that is very reminiscent of the Mi 11's camera module. It's quite a bump that protrudes out of the rear and wobbles quite a bit on the table. Now, even the inbox silicone cover can't compensate for that bump, unfortunately. Also on the rear is your iconic Motorola logo, but that iconic dimple is missing. Now, as for the rest of the design, you get a power button on the right edge along with a volume rocker. This power button also doubles up as the fingerprint scanner, and it is fairly fast to unlock the phone. Interestingly, you also get a dedicated Google Assistant button on the right edge along with a hybrid SIM tray, which accepts a couple of nano SIM cards or a nano SIM card and a micro SD card up to 512 GB in storage space. Now, the bottom edge has a single speaker grill, which is not stereo, and a Type-C port and a headphone port, which is quite a good addition. What's also good on the phone is the IP52 rating, which also protects it from light water sprays. Now, I really like the display on the Moto H20 Fusion. This 6.7-inch Full HD Plus OLED panel has an aspect ratio of 20:9. Additionally, you get a display refresh rate of 90 Hz, support for HDR10 plus content, and the DC IP3 color space. Now, I switched to the natural color mode as soon as I got the phone, and the white point was fantastic. The colors were bang on and accurate too on the display. I'm sure this is a very well tuned display which has a delta E of less than 2. Plus, this is a 10-bit panel and you can clearly see that it has a wider color palette immediately. Now, I found the display fairly bright for outdoor usage as well. Plus, the in-software tweaks such as peak display are truly original features that no other brand in my knowledge has natively adopted yet. Now, Motorola didn't mention the make of the cover glass on top of the display of the Moto H20 Fusion, but it did tell me that it is as powerful and as strong as the Corning Gorilla Glass 3, so we'll take their word for it. Anyway, a full display comparison with competent phones in this price range will come in my full review. Now, the one reason why I'm kind of excited to use the Moto H20 series is the stock Android experience coupled with Motorola's really good embellishments on top of it. In fact, Motorola has confirmed that all of the phones in their H20 series will definitely get 2 more Android OS upgrades, which is basically Android 12 and Android 13, which is fantastic and which is more than most other brands can promise in this price range. Now, if you've come this far and if you like what you see so far, don't forget to hit that like button and maybe even comment below, because YouTube's algorithm generally pushes videos where there's more engagement. So please help us out. Now, the 90Hz refresh rate on stock Android is smooth, but I will test it in detail for the full review. Anyway, on top of Android 11, you get the following features: personalization options with custom styles and interactive wallpapers. Gestures, I counted 8 different gestures that are possible. I love that twist to quickly capture the picture and the karate chop to switch on the torch. These are pretty cool. Now, there's added support for ThinkShield mobile security, which works in the background to protect your phone against malware and the likes. This is particularly useful for IT managers who wish to deploy this phone among their employees. Now, Motorola has also something called Ready For, which is very similar to Samsung's DeX mode. Ideally, it works on every display out there, including a dumb TV, but Ready For support on the H20 Fusion extends only to PC. Anyway, you can use it wired or wirelessly. We'll talk more about the implementation in my full review. Now, the stock Android experience on the Moto H20 series is definitely one of its most exciting features. It is a very premium experience, and considering OnePlus is now going through a transition phase trying to integrate the code base of ColorOS on Oxygen OS, I think that this might be appealing to a lot of folks wanting to experience stock Android. I know I am actually pretty excited. Now, the H20 Fusion has the highest resolution 108 megapixel Samsung HM2 sensor for its primary camera, which is paired with an f/1.9 aperture lens. The secondary camera is an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle shooter, which also doubles up as the macro camera. Now, the rear camera setup is completed by a 2 megapixel depth camera. On the front, you get a 32 megapixel selfie shooter. Now, I'm definitely going to be doing an in-depth camera comparison against the Nord CE and the Meet and I, so wait for that verdict. But my first impressions of the camera samples are pretty good. Having said that, know that this is not my final thoughts on the camera performance. You will have to wait for the full review and the camera comparison, because it is essential and vital. Anyway, I noticed that the color reproduction is pretty natural for the most part, and the images look sharp too. Plus, the selfie camera spits out fairly neutral facial tones as well. The ultrawide and the macro cameras do a fairly good job too, when presented with good light, that is. And the night vision mode algorithm does crank up the saturation, but brings out a lot of details missing in the original picture. You also get a plethora of extra shooting modes. For example, the new dual capture mode for photo and video lets you use any sensor you want, including the ultrawide. So that's an added advantage. Basically, the Moto H20 Fusion has a lot of features that will help you make a good photograph. Having said that, the camera UI is still a bit of a confusing mess, and I think that the software engineers need to work a little bit more on making it more, easy to use. Now, the H20 Fusion has a MediaTek Dimensity 800U system on chip. Under Rs 25,000, only the Snapdragon 860 and the Snapdragon 768G are more powerful chips. Now, the Dimensity 800U is in the same league as the Snapdragon 750G, and we've talked at length about it in our previous videos as well. By the way, the phone is also available in 2 RAM variants, 6GB and 8GB. Also, the 128GB internal storage runs at UFS 2.2 speeds. In the time that I've had with the H20 Fusion for this hands-on, it was plenty fast, and I could play a lot of my favorite games without any hiccups too. For those wondering, Call of Duty runs at medium graphics and high frame rates, whereas BGMI can do smooth ultra or HD high, which is generally the maximum settings possible on Dimensity 800U anyway. Now, I will do some more detailed testing, including benchmark runs and throttle testing, in my full review. The H20 Fusion has a 5000 mAh battery and Motorola's Turbo Power 30-watt fast charging technology as well. Now, I'm yet to do a battery test on the phone, but I'm hoping for good performance with stock Android's optimizations. Now, the biggest advantage on the Moto H20 Fusion is its networking capabilities. Not only do you get support for 4G carrier aggregation, you also get support for 13 5G bands in total, making it quite future-proof. Now, I'm fairly confident that the Moto H20 series could be the turning point for Motorola in India, where it sees substantial growth and sales. Now, the Moto H20 Fusion especially has the grit and the determination to go up against market leaders currently operating in its price segment. I hope that Nokia is taking cues from Motorola if it wants to make any significant inroads into this brutal market. Well, anyway, what did you guys think of the Moto H20 Fusion? The review is dropping soon as well, so stay tuned for that. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions or doubts, or if you have any suggestions on the kind of videos that you would want to see from us. Until next time, this is Ashar from MySmartPrice signing off. Goodbye and Godspeed, my friends.